Welcome to our comprehensive guide on how to protect plants from frost. As gardeners, we know the importance of safeguarding our plants from the cold temperatures that can threaten their health and vitality. In this video, we'll explore the various methods and techniques you can use to shield your plants from frost damage, ensuring they thrive even when the mercury dips. So, whether you're a seasoned gardener or just starting out, join us as we dive into the world of frost protection and learn how to keep your plants safe and thriving all year round. Frost occurs when temperatures drop below freezing, typically at or below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius. It can pose a significant threat to plants, particularly those that are sensitive to cold temperatures. When frost forms on plant tissues, it can damage cells and cause tissue death, leading to wilting, browning, and even death of the entire plant in severe cases. Understanding the factors that contribute to frost formation is essential for effective frost protection. Clear skies, calm winds, and low humidity are conducive to frost formation, as they allow heat to radiate away from the ground quickly. Conversely, cloudy nights or windy conditions can mitigate frost formation by trapping heat near the ground or mixing warmer air from higher altitudes. Different types of frost can affect plants in various ways. Radiation frost, also known as ground frost, occurs on clear, calm nights when heat radiates away from the ground, causing temperatures to drop rapidly. This type of frost often forms in low-lying areas where cold air settles, such as valleys or depressions in the landscape. Advection frost occurs when cold air moves over warmer ground, causing the air temperature to drop below freezing. This type of frost is more common in regions with strong winds or cold air masses moving across a landscape. Advection frost can be particularly damaging to plants, as it can occur even on cloudy nights when radiation frost is less likely. Understanding the local climate and microclimate conditions in your garden is essential for assessing the risk of frost and implementing appropriate protection measures. Factors such as elevation, proximity to bodies of water, and surrounding landscape features can influence temperature and humidity levels, affecting the likelihood of frost formation. One of the most straightforward methods for protecting plants from frost is to cover them with a protective barrier. Materials such as blankets, tarps, or frost cloths can be draped over plants to create a temporary shelter from the cold. These coverings help trap heat radiating from the ground and provide insulation against freezing temperatures. It's essential to secure the coverings to the ground or plant containers to prevent them from blowing away in the wind. Row covers are lightweight fabric sheets designed to protect rows of plants in a garden or field from frost damage. These covers are typically made from materials such as polyethylene or spun-bonded polyester and can be draped over rows of plants or supported by hoops or stakes. Row covers allow sunlight, air, and moisture to penetrate while providing protection against frost, making them an effective option for large-scale plantings. Applying a layer of mulch around the base of plants can help insulate the soil and protect plant roots from frost damage. Organic mulches such as straw, hay, leaves, or wood chips act as a barrier against extreme temperatures, helping to maintain more stable soil temperatures during cold weather. Mulching also helps retain moisture in the soil, which can be beneficial during dry periods when plants may be more susceptible to frost damage. Water has a unique ability to absorb and release heat, making it an effective tool for protecting plants from frost damage. Sprinkling or misting plants with water before temperatures drop below freezing can create a protective barrier of ice around plant tissues, insulating them from the cold. This method works best in dry climates or when temperatures are expected to rise above freezing during the day, allowing the ice to melt without causing damage to plant tissues. For more extensive or permanent plantings, installing frost protection devices such as frost blankets, frost fences, or thermal curtains can provide reliable protection against frost damage. These devices are designed to trap heat radiating from the ground and prevent cold air from settling around plants, creating a microclimate that is warmer and more conducive to plant growth. While these devices may require initial investment and installation, they can offer long-term protection and peace of mind for gardeners facing frequent or severe frosts. In addition to the common methods mentioned earlier, there are several additional tips and strategies that gardeners can employ to protect their plants from frost damage. Another tip is to choose frost-tolerant plants. Selecting plant varieties that are more resistant to frost can help minimize the risk of damage during cold weather. Some plants are naturally more tolerant of cold temperatures and can withstand frost without significant harm. When designing a garden or selecting plants for a particular location, consider choosing frost-tolerant varieties whenever possible. Consult with local gardening experts or extension offices for recommendations on suitable plant varieties for your climate zone. It's also advisable to avoid pruning before cold weather sets in. Pruning plants before the onset of cold weather can leave them more vulnerable to frost damage. Pruning stimulates new growth, which can be more susceptible to frost injury, especially if temperatures drop suddenly. To minimize the risk of frost damage, avoid pruning plants in late fall or early winter when frost is a concern. Instead, wait until after the danger of frost has passed in the spring to prune plants, allowing them to recover and regrow without risk of injury. Strong winds can exacerbate the effects of frost by stripping away heat and moisture from plants, leading to more significant damage. Installing windbreaks such as fences, hedges, or temporary barriers can help protect plants from the drying effects of wind and create a more sheltered microclimate. Position windbreaks strategically around vulnerable plants to minimize exposure to cold winds and reduce the risk of frost damage. Considering microclimates can also be beneficial. Microclimates are small-scale environmental conditions within a larger area that can influence temperature, humidity, and other factors. By identifying and understanding microclimates in your garden or landscape, you can better protect plants from frost damage. For example, low-lying areas or areas near bodies of water may experience colder temperatures and higher humidity levels, increasing the risk of frost damage. Conversely, south-facing slopes or areas with good air drainage may be warmer and less prone to frost. By planting sensitive plants in more favorable microclimates and avoiding frost pockets, gardeners can minimize the risk of frost damage and promote healthier plant growth. One of the most common methods of frost protection is covering plants with protective materials such as frost blankets, row covers, or even old bed sheets. These materials act as insulation, trapping heat radiating from the soil and plants and creating a warmer microclimate around them. When using covers, it's essential to ensure they are secured firmly in place to prevent them from being blown away by the wind. Additionally, it's important to remove covers during the day to allow sunlight to reach the plants and prevent overheating. Another effective method of frost protection is using water to create thermal mass. Water has a high heat capacity, meaning it can absorb and retain heat more effectively than air or soil. By watering plants thoroughly before a frost event, gardeners can help buffer temperature fluctuations and protect plants from freezing temperatures. However, it's important to note that this method is most effective in regions with relatively mild frosts and may not provide sufficient protection during severe cold snaps. In regions prone to frequent frosts, investing in frost protection structures such as cold frames, hoop houses, or greenhouses can provide more reliable and long-term protection for plants. These structures create a controlled environment where temperature, humidity, and airflow can be regulated to suit the needs of the plants. While more expensive and labor-intensive than other methods, frost protection structures offer the advantage of year-round protection and can be used to extend the growing season for sensitive plants. For gardeners with limited resources or space, simple techniques such as mulching can also help protect plants from frost damage. Applying a layer of organic mulch, such as straw, leaves, or compost around the base of plants helps insulate the soil and roots, preventing them from freezing. Mulch also helps retain moisture in the soil, which can be beneficial during dry winter months. When mulching, be sure to leave space around the stems and foliage of plants to prevent rot and disease. In addition to these methods, there are several cultural practices that gardeners can employ to reduce the risk of frost damage. Planting cold-hardy varieties, timing plantings to avoid late frosts, and providing adequate nutrition and water to plants can all help increase their resilience to cold temperatures. Proper site selection, such as planting in sheltered areas or on south-facing slopes, can also minimize exposure to frost and create more favorable growing conditions. Once frost protection measures have been implemented, it's essential to monitor weather forecasts closely and be prepared to respond quickly to changing conditions. Frost events can be unpredictable, and even a slight drop in temperature can have significant impacts on sensitive plants. By staying informed and proactive, gardeners can minimize the risk of frost damage and ensure the effectiveness of their protection efforts. One of the most critical factors to monitor during frost events is temperature, both at the ground level and in the surrounding environment. Investing in a reliable thermometer and placing it strategically throughout the garden can help gardeners track temperature fluctuations and identify potential frost pockets or cold spots. Additionally, Monitoring humidity levels can provide valuable insight into the likelihood of frost formation, as low humidity levels can increase the risk of freezing temperatures. In addition to temperature and humidity, it's essential to observe other environmental factors that can affect frost formation, such as wind speed and direction. Wind can exacerbate the effects of frost by causing rapid temperature fluctuations and stripping away insulating layers, such as frost blankets or covers. By monitoring wind conditions and taking steps to protect plants from strong gusts, gardeners can improve the effectiveness of their frost protection measures and minimize damage. In the event of an unexpected frost, gardeners should be prepared to take immediate action to protect their plants. This may involve covering vulnerable plants with frost blankets or row covers, watering them to create thermal mass, or moving potted plants indoors or to a sheltered location. The key is to act quickly and decisively to minimize exposure to freezing temperatures and prevent damage to tender foliage and stems. After a frost event has passed, it's essential to assess the extent of any damage and take steps to mitigate its effects. This may involve pruning damaged foliage or stems, providing additional water and nutrients to stressed plants, or implementing long-term strategies to improve plant resilience, such as mulching or adjusting planting times. By responding promptly and effectively to frost events, gardeners can help minimize the impact on their plants and ensure they continue to thrive throughout the growing season. While immediate interventions can help mitigate the effects of frost events, implementing long-term strategies is essential for building resilience and reducing the risk of damage to plants over time. By incorporating frost-resistant plants into the landscape, improving soil health, and enhancing microclimate conditions, gardeners can create a more robust and resilient garden that can withstand freezing temperatures and other environmental stressors. One effective long-term strategy for frost protection is to select and cultivate plants that are naturally adapted to cold climates or have built-in mechanisms for tolerating freezing temperatures. Frost-resistant plants, such as certain varieties of evergreens, conifers, and ornamental grasses, are better equipped to withstand frost and other cold-related stressors, making them ideal choices for gardens in cooler climates or exposed areas. In addition to selecting frost-resistant plants, improving soil health can also help enhance plant resilience and reduce the risk of frost damage. Healthy, well-aerated soil with good drainage properties can provide better insulation and moisture retention, helping plants withstand temperature fluctuations and recover more quickly from frost events. Incorporating organic matter, such as compost or mulch, into the soil can improve its structure and fertility, while also promoting beneficial microbial activity and root development. Creating favorable microclimate conditions within the garden can further enhance frost protection and promote plant health and vitality. Microclimates are localized areas within the garden that differ from the surrounding environment in terms of temperature, humidity, and other factors. By strategically planting windbreaks, such as hedges or shrubs, and using features like raised beds, retaining walls, or thermal mass, gardeners can create sheltered areas that are less susceptible to frost and other weather extremes. Furthermore, implementing practices such as proper irrigation, mulching, and pruning can help optimize plant health and increase their ability to withstand frost damage. Watering plants deeply and infrequently encourages deep root growth and improves drought tolerance, while mulching helps regulate soil temperature and moisture levels. Pruning dead or damaged foliage can also promote airflow and reduce the risk of disease, improving overall plant resilience. By understanding the factors that contribute to frost damage and implementing a range of preventive measures and interventions, gardeners can minimize the impact of freezing temperatures on their plants and promote their health and vitality throughout the growing season. From selecting frost-resistant plants and improving soil health to creating favorable microclimates and using season-extending techniques, there are numerous strategies available to help gardeners build resilience and protect their plants from frost damage. By incorporating these strategies into their gardening practices, gardeners can create a more robust and resilient garden that can thrive in spite of frost and other environmental challenges.